right. Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry, hang on. Giant teacup moment. All right, so happy almost full moon. We've got a super moon coming up also on this harvest moon. That's going to be over October the 6th and 7th, so late at night on October 6th. Because it is a super moon, it means that the moon is much closer to Earth, and so it amplifies everything. And specifically, super moon might bring up more energy from the subconscious and the intuition. So, with that in mind, I wanted to kind of take a look at it from there. Like, what is the thing that's being like drug up from that deep, kind of like intuitive space or subconscious and into the light? And I also, before we get into this, I should mention make sure that you're if you're subscribed, make sure that your notification bell is turned on. Tomorrow I will be going live a couple different times on both channels and doing some storytelling for subscribers to celebrate our full super moon. If you're not subscribed, make sure that you get subscribed so that you know when that happens, because I will be doing that for subscribers and members tomorrow. So hi everyone, so great to see you all. We are starting out with magic. So the thing that's coming up in Aries subconscious is, well, in this case, it's candle magic. But it's like there's a spark inside of Aries, and I think Aries recognizes that either divine spark within themselves, or they are recognizing there's a lot more going on in this world. There's a lot more, we can think sometimes that life is dull or boring. We can think that we don't really have power. And Aries is like, actually, that's exactly the opposite of the truth. The fact that we're here at all is magic. The fact that we have, fingers and toes and, eyes and a tongue, and, we can formulate words and we can learn things and we can look at the things that we can do. All of this is magic. We don't fully understand some of the basics of our world. We don't understand what gravity is. We don't understand how we got here, where we go later on. We have ideas, but it's all just belief systems with no proof. Everything is magic. And I think that Aries is like, holy smokes, here I've been maybe not realizing I am the magic wand. Maybe I haven't had a spark of interest in something for a while. Maybe I haven't been super happy in a long time. But sometimes that is where the spark of inspiration comes from. Sorry, there's like, I feel like there's some little bug or something that wants to keep, like hovering around me. We've got a 3 of Cups in the reverse. I kind of think, did Aries clear the deck for a while? Did Aries say, I didn't want to be around anybody for a while? And I'm realizing I tend to get exactly what I ask for. If I said I didn't want anybody, no wonder there was nobody around me for a bit. Hierophant, yeah, I think Aries was in they needed to be solo for a little bit, and they're realizing that. That's when I was connecting to my higher power, my higher self. I'm realizing I'm actually a conduit of energy. I wonder if this Aries is just now recognizing that they might be like a very powerful healer or empath or something that requires that they give a lot of energy to others. And when they get depleted, they have to withdraw from others. And maybe they didn't put 2 and 2 together and realize that, because this is them getting all kinds of energetic download, like a freaking waterfall coming into them. So I would just say there's something here. I keep feeling like there's a bug biting me, or first there was something flying and then I felt something on my arm and now I feel something on the back of my neck. I think I'm just thinking that there's a bug. And it's funny because I'm not scared of bugs, but I just keep thinking that there's something on me. Maybe that's part of this though, is Aries keeps getting nagged by something. And it's what I realize? I'm the one who I intentionally didn't want anybody around me for a bit. I've been single for a while. I've been, staying away from people for a while. And I was depleted in my own spark because I was actually getting new downloads. So I think Aries has been kind of keeping to themselves, kind of self-contained for a bit. And during the supermoon, they're realizing, oh, that wasn't by accident. That was by design. Yeah, everything's changing. Everything's getting revved up. Everything is getting like all the generators are getting turned back on. I think this is going to be a really powerful time for Aries. I almost want to say step back. Aries is going to have this geyser of, ideas and inspiration and tons to say. Their whole life is about to take a left turn, and it's they've been preparing for it. I don't know that they knew that at first, but we see it happening now. So if this is what the supermoon is bringing up for Aries, is the awareness that, oh my God, all this time there has been something specific happening for me. I wasn't lonely. I wasn't being antisocial. I wasn't shoving people away. I was withdrawing because I had this other huge thing going on inside of me, which was my downloads from the universe. And it's changing the course of my life now. I'm super excited. What is this massive shift? Where is our character's life going? We have got the Seven of Pentacles and it's sideways. It's a culmination of a bunch of lessons. And, one thing that I will mention, and I said this, I think, probably in the singles storyline that I put out earlier today, this particular moon, this full moon in October, is known as the harvest moon. And our ancestors used to particularly like this moon because it rises at approximately about the same time, 3 nights in a row. And that was really helpful for ancient farmers because that meant they had the light of the full moon pretty prominent that they could count on. And that would allow them to extend their hours of, harvesting before the first frosts came. And it's just, here he is harvesting like all these apples. And it just kind of says this is very much a time for tremendous harvest for Aries. And I think whatever comes next for Aries, it's like a culmination of so many lessons. We have the Chariot upright. Moving forward with great confidence. And I always say only emperors and empresses get to ride in the Chariot. So I'm going to say this is a much more significant chapter of Aries' life that is starting to blossom right after this supermoon. And Aries is just kind of like awakening to that, realizing my life's not going to be the same after this supermoon, is it? The time that I've spent silent or solo, it's because I was preparing for this shift, this change, this big culmination of so many things that have happened in my world, and this big culmination of me like moving forward now in life. We've got a 2 of Cups. Aries is on the horizon of actually connecting to a really important, I'll say, relationship in their life. I want to say lover, but let's say relationship. But I feel like it's somebody who's going to match their own vibration, their own heart. I kind of think, how sometimes we have to cleanse our energy after we've dealt with other people before we're ready to date somebody else. But this isn't just as simple as dating. This is like Aries did like an energy cleanse, an aura cleanse, like they're going through some pretty significant like reset button in their life. And now they're prepared for union with a 2 of Cups. And I feel like Aries is kind of like intuitively aware. Something just shifted in me. Something got real all of a sudden. I have a new chapter of my life blossoming, and it's going to be the most serious and possibly like the most fulfilling relationship of my life that's about to blossom. Candy Mitchell, thank you, honey. Amongst the Stars, you are now a member, and that is courtesy of Candy Mitchell, who just gifted you that. So just so you know, that means you have access to the members playlist and all the members videos. Definitely you'll want to take a look at especially the most recent members video that I posted this week. In the beginning of that, I always explain kind of what we do in the members corner. So make sure you get a chance to check that out. And don't forget, tomorrow is Monday and it's Members Day. So we'll be doing a storytelling. So yeah, just so you know, sweetheart. Candy Mitchell, thank you, sweetheart. That was super sweet of you. All right, don't forget, guys, tomorrow we'll also be doing some storytellings on both channels for members and for subscribers. Let's take a look with the 2 of Cups there. 8 of Swords. 8 of Swords is definitely the energy of I've been stuck for a really long time and I still don't see how this goes. I don't see what comes next. I only am sensing it. So as far as like someone materializing right in front of Aries, they're like, all I know is that this is what comes next, but I don't really see how, where. I don't see like the open gateway to the castle. There's been kind of like the next phase of this is not something that Aries can predict. It's not something that Aries can necessarily like push on through and see how this whole thing is going to go. Okay, so let me just take one peek and say, universe, do you want to respond to this on Aries' behalf? What is especially with the 2 of Cups component? Four of Swords, Page of Wands, and the Moon. The universe is like, nope, it'll all come to pass when the time is right. Uh, this kind of says that as far as this next chapter of Aries life goes, no, the universe doesn't reveal anything until it comes to blossom. It's like if Aries is continuing to listen. So the Four of Swords is oftentimes a card of listening. It's where we stop talking and instead we pay attention to what the universe is saying to us. And the universe is, if anything, nudging Aries to pay attention, especially during the supermoon, to what are you intrigued by? What catches your eye? And maybe this is like a little practice for Aries to do. If you walk into, let's say, a restaurant and you're just there to pick up your lunch order that you called in. It says, walk in and maybe pause and look around and notice who stands out to Aries in that restaurant. Who does Aries make eye contact with? Who draws Aries' eyes like a magnet? And perhaps why? I'm thinking that Aries needs to learn how to read frequencies. Remember, this whole story is about magic. And this Aries has magic, and they're looking for somebody's flame. There's a really nice story, or not story, but a really nice song by Talk, Tawk, and it's called Flame. And one of the lyrics is, wait till you see my flame. It's the same. And I just feel like if there's this life spark in Aries, they will know their Two of Cups person by whatever it is, that certain je ne sais quoi, that certain thing that makes them stand out to Aries. But it might not even be just about a relationship. Let's say to find anything that like matches a character's life, pay attention to things that stand out. Why do certain things stand out? Why do certain restaurants stand out that you're driving by? Why do certain mountains stand out that you decide you have to go hiking there? Why does anything capture our attention? Where is that coming from? Is it because that's on like Aries' life path for some reason, or that's the thing that they want to go explore? Because this is the first step in an adventure of exploration. And if that's the thing that Aries has like been like having download into them, is like, pay attention and ask yourself, why did that catch my eye? I will say this, in my own life, and I am not an Aries, of course my doggy is an Aries, but in my own life, many things have been like that for me. In fact, even part of the reason I have Aries at all is I've been thinking that I wanted a dog for a while, but it was like never the right time. And then one day I was walking and I found this little red like monkey toy in the gutter. And I was like, that's a dog toy, and that is supposed to be my dog's toy. I don't know how I know. I just know that has to be my dog's toy. And I was like, that was my sign. And I was like, this is it. I'm ready for my dog. I can't stop thinking about it. And now this comes in out of nowhere. It's time. And that's how I ended up with my Aries. But, there are certain things that just stand out to us. There are certain things that, we could say maybe we're looking for a sign, or even like driving by a place. Like I knew a place that I was going to work long before I worked there because it just kept standing out to me. I was like, I don't know why, but and then I eventually ended up working there. There's just the things that stand out, and maybe it's because part of our life path. And I will say that was a very important part of my life path. It's a very good thing that I worked there. And it wasn't great, but the outcome was great. And so, there are things in our lives that stand out to us for whatever reason. Look, these are sci-fi stories, these are fictional stories, but in this anecdote that I'm telling, I'm just weaving in a little bit of like an example of something that I've found in my own life that's happened for me, because it's the best way I could describe what we're saying for this fictional character, right? I'm not suggesting anybody else do this. I'm just saying for our story. But bizarrely, yeah, I'm weird enough to kind of like get down with the whole sci-fi idea. But this message says, not everything will make sense at first, but just recognize if something stands out and maybe just keep it in the back of our memory bank. I don't know why that's important yet, but maybe later I'll find out. Not everything happens all at once. And I kind of like the fact that there's this element of like patience and awareness and like living one's life in the present moment, but also saying everything in my present could potentially be seeds that are being planted for my future. So if something stands out, let me file it in the back of my memory, and then we'll see how life continues to unfold. That it's kind of a nice message, and it's kind of such a simple way to say, don't fret over the how of anything, Aries. Just live really present, pay close attention, and trust that one step in front of the other, Aries is going to keep gravitating toward what is a nice vibrational match for them, whether that be in romance, whether that be in, lifestyle choices. But who Aries is now is very like high vibrational, very evolved, and they're going to keep probably gravitating toward other things that draw them. The same way, like I'm picturing somebody who's listening to like beautiful music and they're drawn to follow the sounds of a piece of music, down a street corner and, to where they're supposed to be. It feels like that's going to be kind of the analogy for this is like Aries will sense the trail or the path when it stands out to them, but not to fret over the how and or the why or when, because it's like it'll present itself. Just be present and live one's life and make notes of things that are beautiful and joyful and that are of interest to Aries. Pursue mysteries and things that are intriguing and talk to people that are interesting, and bit by bit Aries will find exactly what they're looking for. And I kind of think that is what Aries magic is about. They've always kind of known this. It's just coming more front and center during this supermoon. So all right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Michelle S., Travis Rhodes, Danielle. Oh, love that. Hi, Raven. You're so sweet. Thank you, Raven. RT, Moonbeam Wendy. That's so wonderful. Fire Pony. San Juanita. Yes, San Juanita. And then shortly after my little red monkey, I found a dog crate in the dumpster of the place that I lived at. And that was like, okay, 10,000%. Like I got two massive signs that I'm definitely supposed to get a dog. It was just the right time. Exactly. Allison Looney. Thank you, babe. So good to see you, babe. Lucy LW. Danielle, that's so cute. Your boss asked what day it was, and you said, well, it's 2 days before the full moon. I love that. Living water. Hi, RT. And again, welcome amongst the stars. And thank you so much, Candy Mitchell. Michelle, you're adorable. Hi, Della McDonough. Thank you, sweetheart. Right back to you. My fortress is my lord. Hey, hey. Hi, Jem. Platinum Pug. Oh, very cool. Moonbeam Wendy, you went to a sound bath and was out. Awesome. That must have been so soothing. Hey, guys. Cosmo Guy, Slay Princess, Broken Beaver Bliss, Kyle Wolf, Susan. Hi, everybody. Travis Rhodes, sweet dreams, honey. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and go to the last. We still have a couple zodiacs to get to tonight. And I don't want to leave anybody out before our full moon. So lots of love. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you guys like the backdrop. All right, take care. Bye, everybody.